Hello and welcome to today's Tech Tip Tuesday. I'm Daniel Howell, trying to share a tip with you that I hope that you will find useful in ministry, or maybe if you're not a preacher, you'll still find some of these things useful in your daily life in some way as well. Today I wanted to share with you a piece of software that is free, that the way that I actually found it was because I'm a member of our local library here, and they're part of the Kentucky Unbound library system. And one of the ways in which you can download their electronic books over the internet is using Adobe Digital Editions. And that's what I want to share with you today. Now, it is relatively new. I'd never heard of it until now, but now that I've started using it, I'm actually not using it for the books from the library. To give you the short version of what it is basically an electronic reader for your computer, but it will read these PDF files that I'm sure if you're a preacher, you probably have a ton of them laying around. And that doesn't seem exciting. You say, why is it that I would need a reader besides Adobe Reader? Well, the reason is that Adobe Digital Editions will let you organize these things. If you notice here on the left side of the screen, I have bookshelves is what they're called. And I can look at all items or purchased or borrowed, depending if I'm doing something from the library. But then I have the ability to organize my PDF files into these bookshelves. Now I have a couple of commentaries that are entirely on, and commentary sets that are entirely on PDF. I have the Bob Winton commentaries, and I've downloaded the College Press commentaries, and I got a few other odds and ends of things floating around my computer that I have not made its way into Adobe Digital Editions yet. But the short of it is you can organize these things, and you say, well, that's great, that's not very exciting either. Well, where this becomes useful for you is in being able to not only search things like what you can in Reader, but also where I've had problems, and unless you have Acrobat, you're not able to do this, is to actually make annotations in my PDF file. So for instance, if I want to go over here to Bible reference, I was recently looking through the Fourfold Gospel from J.W. McGarvey, and I'll give you another website to go to in just a moment. But I can bring it up here. Of course, on the left side here, I have all of the chapters of the book laid out, and I can make that disappear or reappear as well. But where this gets interesting is, let's just say, for instance, that I'm here in John 1 verses 19 through 34. If I see something there that I would like to save, normally with a PDF you'd have to copy and paste, and if you wanted to save anything, or it was just not easily usable. Well, this I can actually make annotations and bookmarks for these things. So for instance, let's just, for the sake of discussion here, let's highlight here McGarvey's note, and then what I'm going to do is hit on my keyboard Control B. Now notice what this does. It brings up a bookmark section here, and I'm going to type in an imaginary note here. Well, it's not imaginary because you can see it, but note added. You can put in whatever note you'd like to put in there. Hit OK, and notice that it will put your note, and then it will also highlight here in the PDF what it is that you had just highlighted yourself. You can go on through your study, you see something else, and you want to make another note. John's direct testimony bore fruit on the second day, as we see there. Do the same thing, hit Control B. You don't even have to put a note in, you can just hit OK, and it will bookmark that spot for you. And notice they start stacking up over here on the left side. If you're trying to do study, it's a good way, if you have books on PDF, to be able to keep track of them. By the way, I'll send you to another place, not only the link to download Adobe Digital Editions, but if you've never heard of the Christian Classics Ethereal Library, they have a lot of public domain books available on PDF for either free or cheap. So you can start doing this as well. Very quickly, a couple other things to think about. Why would I want to use this instead of Kindle? The reason is these PDFs that you save are indeed real PDFs, so you can have them with you for as long as you need them, as opposed to having the Adobe book format. So there are a few other things. I'm sure I'll talk about it more later, but that's all for today's Tech Tip Tuesday. Join us again next week when we'll be talking about soundboards.